Hey guys, before the video starts, I just wanted to say one, I apologize because the video does not have my microphone. I couldn't find it, but luckily I did. The girl found it, so it shouldn't be a problem moving forward. And then two, I just wanted to say that I finally posted my coaching program on my website, www.takethechances.com. And if it is something that you're interested in seeing, go check it out. And there is a free consultation call that we can do. So if it's something that you're looking to do and you want my help, please make sure to call, email, DM me, whatever is, works best for you, and we can chat. So I'll go ahead and let you guys go to the video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Once again, my name is Sarah D'Angelo, and if you aren't already following, please make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can continue along with me and watching my journey. So in today's video, it's definitely more of a sensitive subject because it has to do with like loved ones and family and friends. But basically it's going to be talking about how I decided to transition and tell my family that, I was going to be leaving my job, and just dealing with the different judgments and opinions that I had on it. It was hard, it's something my family and my friends, I want their opinions, obviously, and they mean a lot to me, but I also knew that I need to follow my own path and kind of block out all the other noise. So, and I also want to just say that, I feel like a lot of people are willing to sacrifice their happiness because of like getting the judgment from other people. And I just want that to sink in for a second, because all throughout going to the process of leaving my job, I would think, like, is this worth it? Like, so many people are going to be judging me, and how is that fair? How is that fair for you? This is your life, your happiness, and why would you sacrifice that just to make other people happy? I want to talk about my experience first because it's a little interesting. So what I found was talking to like acquaintances about it were so much easier than talking to people who were really close to me, obviously, because I want the validation from the people close to me rather than acquaintances. So when I first was like set in stone that I'm going to be leaving my job, I started telling like a few coworkers and some other people that I wasn't super close with, but obviously their opinion mattered to me. And they were super understanding. They were very supportive, and I was shocked. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I can, vent to these people and let them know a little bit about what's going on in my life. But, as time went on, I knew, I was like, okay, I gotta start telling my family, So I started dropping little hints that, okay, like, I am gonna be leaving, but I didn't want to, like, just outright say, like, yep, I quit. So I would say stuff like, oh wow, like, look at these people, what they're doing with their lives. Like, this is so cool. I wish I could do something like that. Or I would be like, oh, I feel so stuck at work. I really want to challenge myself. Oh, I would love to be able to start my own business. Like, all these little things that I guess I was kind of planting the seed in my family's head, but not outright saying it. And let's see, it was honestly 2 months before where I was actually like going to start telling my family and my close friends. And for the most part, my friends were supportive. They were like, yeah, girl, like, go follow your dreams. You deserve it. And then, all right, I gotta tell my family. So I first told my mom because I feel like she is the most understanding. So when I told her, I said, hey mom, this is something that I really want to do, and I feel like if I don't do it, I'm gonna regret it. And she was really on board. She said, yeah, like, that's something that you need to do. You have, the time to do it. You're young, you don't have a family, you don't have priorities. Like, go do it now. So that was really exciting for me that I had her support. But I could also tell that, like, as the date got closer where I was actually putting in my 2 weeks, you could kind of hear the worry in her voice, and which is totally natural. Like, that's what a mom's job is to do, it's to worry. And at least that's what she tells me. So yeah, like, once I told her, it was like one of those, it was a big relief, because that was like the one person that I wanted to have her support, and I knew that I might get it, but just having that validation really helped. And then I had to tell my sister, and I was really nervous about that because, I feel like sisters a lot of the time can be really judgmental, at least mine anyways. But I wanted her to understand, like, why I was doing it. And surprisingly enough, she was probably the most supportive person. And, you know, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, you know, she wishes she could do something like that, but she has an amazing baby daughter that obviously that's her main priority. But yeah, so she was super supportive, and I was like, I was blown away, and I was so happy to hear that she supported me. But then when I kind of told her about what my goal was to do after the fact, so, you know, I'm going to be starting my own business, my own coaching business, and, you know, she was like, well, you don't have the experience to be doing that. And that's when I lost her support, because she really didn't think that I was capable of doing it. And my rebuttal to that was kind of like, okay, well, does anyone have experience doing anything before they actually do it? So that's how that went. And, you know, I'm sure as time goes on and I continue to grow, she'll, you know, get on board. But currently that's where we're at, even still after I quit my job. And then it was time to tell my dad, and whew, I was dreading that. He is like super old school, super like goes by the books, and that's just how he was raised. So I can't really blame him for that. But I think I waited till like 2 weeks before I actually was like putting in my 2 weeks to tell him, because yeah, it's scary, and you know, you want your dad's opinion and I guess support. So yeah, we were actually on a trip to Florida together. He came out, and I was visiting my grandma, and he showed up, and I just like, you know, casually brought it up. I'm like, oh yeah, so I'm quitting my job, and I'm gonna be, you know, going on this journey. And this was like a huge shocker. I didn't think he was gonna react like this. He goes, you're making the biggest mistake of your fucking life. Yeah. My dad, who I look up to, the guy who raised me, you know, he thought I was making the biggest mistake of my life, and that stung a little bit. You know, it sucks to hear that your own father doesn't support your hopes and dreams. And what it came down to is, I don't think that he thought that I was not doing the right thing. I think he was just more so uneducated of the fact of what I was going to be doing. So, you know, it took some time to get educated. His idea, and he was so proud of me when, you know, I continued to grow in my career. He was really proud. And, you know, for me to just kind of up and leave all of that, I'm sure was, you know, a lot to take in for him. But his whole idea of my life was, you know, I can start young working and be able to work, invest a little bit, and then retire at the age of 60. Or I'm sorry, no, he said retire at the age of 40. Yeah. And I told him, you know, that's, you know, if I get lucky, then yeah, maybe, but I live in California, and, you know, millennials were probably not looking to retire until we're the age of like 70. So that's just probably not going to happen. And I appreciate, you know, the goals that the expectations that you set for me, because they're very high, but they're just not very feasible. So yeah, that was definitely the hardest part, telling my dad. And, you know, I'm sure he's a little bit more on board now that I'm actually starting to show him what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, parents, they're not as understanding as you think, just because it all comes down to education. So if they're not educated on what a lot of us millennials are doing, then of course they're not going to be supportive, because they're like, what are you doing? This isn't how life is. You know, you're supposed to, you know, get out of school, get a job, work, get married, have kids, have a house, and then retire at the age of 65. And that's just that's just what is all in their head. That's how they were raised. So then when, you know, your daughter comes in and say, hey, I'm dropping everything and leaving it all behind, of course they're gonna be like, no. So that's what telling my dad was like. It was hard. It sucked. But of course, you know, being the, I guess, competitive person or competitive daughter that I am, I honestly just took what he was saying and made it motivate me even more. I'm like, you don't think that I'm gonna make it? Watch. Like, I am going to be successful, and whether it's doing what I'm doing now or doing something else, you're gonna be proud of me, Dad. So that's what I just kept telling myself in my head. Now I want to just talk about some tips and tricks that I have obviously encountered, and I wanted to share with you in case you are dealing with the same sort of thing. So I'll go ahead and dive into that a little bit. All right, so the first thing is, no matter what, you always have to have in your head that you're not going to sacrifice your happiness because you're afraid of others judging you. It is scary while you're in the process, of course, and you're going to get judgment. You're going to get people who aren't supportive, but no matter what, your happiness comes first. So regardless of all the noise in the background, your focus is your happiness and your dreams. So just block it all out, keep on track, remember your why, and just keep to it. Don't let, people are going to judge no matter what. People are going to judge if you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. That was one thing I struggled with. I said, I don't want to tell too many people because what if I don't follow through with it? That I'm getting judgment from people who, I told, and they're like, oh, so you're not doing it now? No matter what, people are going to judge. So don't even stress it. Let them, and just do you. You deserve it. You deserve to make yourself happy, and if following your goal and following your dreams is going to do that, obviously, then go do it. All right, so tip number 2 is going to be a lot of the judgment that you are feeling have a lot to do with just the insecurities that you're having. And I mean, how true is that? You're taking a huge step into, a unknown world, and you're going to be a little insecure about the decision. So I feel like a lot of the judgment that I was getting wasn't even judgment from them, but more so like I was projecting it because I felt a little bit insecure. And I remember specifically my sister one day, we were talking, and she goes, I was having a bad day, and I felt like, people are just judging me. They're saying hurtful things. And she goes, you are taking massive action in your life right now, and you're taking a huge leap into a new world. Do you think that people are actually judging you or trying to be hurtful, or are you choosing to be hurt? And I thought that really resonated with me, because how true is that? Of course people are going to share their opinion and going to, judge a little bit, but that's just how it is. And I'm sure that a lot of it had to do with me being insecure about my decision, and that's why it got to me a lot. So if you are starting to feel like people are judging you, or they're saying hurtful things, or maybe just things that don't go in line with what your goals are, just take a second and realize that maybe I'm just feeling insecure. Maybe I just need to take a step back and take a breath and realize that they're not judging me. They're just not fully on board. All right, so tip number 3 is going to be all about education. So as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the judgment, or a lot of the unsupportive people that you have aren't even based off of, what decision you're making for your life, but more so they're just totally uneducated, and they don't know what it is that you're trying to do. So what I did was actually share a lot of other stories. Like I would say, okay, look at these people. These people are making, this amount of money doing something that they love and being able to travel all the time. I don't know why I'm holding up my hand like this. It's supposed to be my phone. But okay, sorry. But yeah, I would just kind of share other people's stories and how they've become so successful, and they follow their dream. And that's what's important. Even if it doesn't work out as planned, they still took a leap of faith and took a chance on themselves, and I'm sure they don't regret it at all. So a lot of it has to do with education. So take the time to educate them and make sure they understand that this isn't uncommon anymore. A lot of people are doing this with their lives, and you have a right to do it. Educate them on that too. You have the right to do it, and you're not going to stop. End of story. So tip number 4, as I mentioned in my first video, I said it is so important to make sure that you have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, I feel like you feel automatically that you're not going to be successful. And that doesn't mean you're not going to be, but it kind of puts in your head like, okay, God, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. So that's on the personal side. But if you also have a plan, your family and your friends are going to be so much more supportive, because they can see visibly that you have something set in stone of what your goals are, and whether it's in a month I'm going to reach this goal, in 6 months I'm going to reach this goal. They have an idea of their head of what you're actually doing, what you're hoping to achieve. So I always think that having a plan made it a little bit easier for my family to get on board with it, because they felt, okay, she knows what she's doing. And for tip number 5, the last, that's number 5. So this one's going to be just expressing your feelings about it, because family and friends, they love you, and I feel like if they understand how you're feeling, if you're scared, if you're excited, if you're confused, they're going to be there for you as much as possible. And even if they're not fully on board with it, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be there for you. So make sure that you express to them that, you know, today I'm feeling really scared. I'm feeling really judged today. I'm so excited for today because I get to embark on this beautiful journey that I'm going to be never regret. So that's one tip that, looking back, I wish I did more of, because if I felt a certain type of way, I feel like I bottled it up a lot. And if I would have expressed it to them, they probably would have been so much more supportive and just kind. You know, my dad maybe would have not said that I'm making the biggest mistake of my life, and he might have been more understanding of the fact that I wasn't happy and I felt stuck, and this is something that I wanted to do for a long time, and I now have the ability to do it, and I'm really excited about it. So I think that's all about trying to express the way that you feel, and hoping that they can be supportive and understanding and loving and kind, like family's supposed to be. So those are the 5 tips that I have, as well as the journey that I've been going through, and honestly that I'm still going through. There's, you know, it's a process, and I'm sure they're going to continue to be, you know, a little worried or judgmental, or even, you know, confused as to what I'm doing. But I finally feel like I figured out that I get to block out all the noise and focus on my why. So those are the tips I have for you. I'm looking forward to continuing sharing my tips and tricks. If you're not already subscribing, please make sure to subscribe and press the notification button so you can get alerted for when my next video is out. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.